I am recording and let's get started. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my whole desktop and here we go. So I'm going to close out this guy down on the bottom here and we are starting on slide number 1. We're starting with equations and their graphs. If you're in your text, you are on page, Miss Jermaine said she was going to have this ready. She is a stinker bug. We are on page number 166 if you're in your textbooks, 166. So we're looking at our warm-up for today. You're taking 2 minutes right now to decide which graph doesn't belong, A, B, C, or D. Type that letter in the box here and tell me why. So there's not much room in the book, but I need you to tell me which one you feel does not belong and why. Once you start to get your answers, throw them in the chat for me so that I can see what we're thinking here. Actually, I'm going to open up that chat for us, but I'm also going to, okay, awesome, love it. So we have about 1 more minute left. Start to think about which one does not belong and why. Ooh, I like it. I have a lot of people saying D here. I love it. And then we'll sort of have a few friends share out. A couple friends are saying A, a couple are saying C. Ooh, I like it. It's tricky. Ooh, I like that one. I like that reason. And we're going to take another 22 seconds. Another 5 seconds. I love to see what a couple more people are thinking. A couple more people, try to throw it in the chat for me. I want to see what you're thinking. So I have some friends in here that are saying that they think a majority of friends are saying D. And some of the reasons that people are giving are saying that I think that D is going to be the opposite because it's going the opposite way of the others. Okay, I like that one. D because it has a negative slope and the others don't. Somebody said A because it's the only one that starts at 0, 0. It's the only proportional relationship. I like that. Some friends said C because it doesn't have a solid line. It's the only one that doesn't have a solid line. So we remember, guys, I want you to remember that these warm-ups that are low risk like this, that are not too risky, every single one of these can be said to be correct. You just need to have a justification for your answer. Why do you think that? Why did you choose that answer? Okay, so I am. Let me just take 1 minute. I just sort of entered myself into the waiting room so that I can check the chat there. And I'm going to make myself a co-host there so that I can keep that chat open on that end there. I'm going to close out the chat on my side here, and the chat is now going to be open on this my other computer, so I have access to it here. Okay, so we said a lot of people said D because it had a negative slope, and I like it. Nice job. That's a good reason there, because it had a negative slope. Okay, some friends said C because it didn't have a solid line. Some friends said A because it was the only proportional relationship. All of those are really, really, really great answers. So now let's move forward and let's take a look at our learning targets for the day. So in the video that I created for this afternoon, I really went into these learning targets, and I really love the way that these learning targets sort of progress on one another. So the first one here is we're going to be using graphing technology to graph linear equations and identify solutions to the equations. So that's going to be really in our second activity for today. We're going to be using some, I believe it's Desmos, to graph some equations. Okay, use graphically on a computer as opposed to by hand. Then we're going to be able to understand how coordinates of the point on a graph of a linear equation are related to the equation. So we're going to be given a quadrant, right? We're given like a grid, and there's going to be an equation line. There's going to be some points on that line. There's going to be some points that don't fall on that line. And we're going to talk about and discuss what those points mean depending on where they fall on our grid. Okay, then let's look at the last one, sorry. When given a graph of a linear equation, I can explain the meaning of the points on the graph in terms of the situation it represents. So we're going from graphing them using some technology, then we're understanding what the points that fall on the line or off the line, what they mean, where they fall, when they fall in different places. Then we're going to take it one step further, and we're going to talk about what those points mean in the context of the story. I love the progression of these targets, and I think that it's gonna when we move through and we do all of them, I think we're gonna be super duper successful. So let's take a look at slide number 4. If you're in your book, it's 5.2 snacks in bulk. Okay. And in the picture, it's like some almonds, like in the book, it's like almonds and some figs. So let's take a look at what this activity is talking about. To get snacks for a class trip, Claire went to the bulk section of the grocery store, where she can buy any quantity of a product and the price is usually good. So bulk usually means you're buying a bunch of it, right? So like when you go to like BJ's or Costco, how you get like those big boxes of your snacks or those big bags of Pirate's Booty, those types of places. So let me just make sure that's muted on there. Pound of figs and the pound of almonds Claire bought, and the dollar amount that she paid. Be sure to specify what each of the variables represents. So you're taking this scenario right here. We have two variables that we're talking about, and when we add those two variables together, it's going to get us a total of 75. So it's not going to be written, it might not be written, the equation might not be written in y equals mx plus b form. It might actually be written in standard form where your x and your y are on the same side and it's equal to some sort of constant. It might be the case. So I want you to take 2 minutes right now to write the equation that matches this scenario and tell me in this box here the two variables that you choose to use and what they represent. You can use X and Y, but it might be better to sort of use letters that correspond to the things that you're talking about. Take 2 minutes right now to write that equation for yourself and those variables. Once you get those written, you can throw those in the chat for me. Okay. So guys, when you're in the chat, if you wouldn't mind setting it to everybody so that I can see it on my other computer, that'd be pretty cool. Nice job, Kyle. Oh, guys, in your book, sorry, I switched the order of these things. So number 1 is actually, if you're writing it in your book, is number 3. Sorry, I wasn't clear on that. Sorry, guys. Nice job, Gabe. I love it. Fantastic. Ooh, I like your variables, Ian. Nice job, Abby. Awesome job, Peyton. I like how we're getting some sort of different answers, but they mean the same thing. I love it. We're taking another 29 seconds to tell me what is your equation, what are your variables, and then if you finish early, you can look at the next slide that has 2 and 3. In your textbook, it's 1 and 2. Okay, so I'm seeing a couple different ways of writing. So, perfect. Let's take a look at, can I have Ian, actually Sadie, can I have Sadie, can you tell me what you did for your equation and your variables that you chose? You can unmute yourself.
I did 6x and 9y equals 75.
What are you thinking, Sadie?
I did 6x plus 9y equals 75.
9y equals 75. Wonderful. And what were the variables that you chose to use here, Sadie?
So I did 6x for like the pounds because we don't know how many pounds she did.
The pounds of what? What did it represent?
Almond.
The almonds. Good. So the number of pounds of almonds. And then what did you do for your second one there, Sadie?
And then y was for dried figs.
So the number of pounds of dried figs. Good. I like it. Nice job. Okay. Mr. Main spelled tried. Let's try that again. Okay, so I had some other friends use some different variables. Gabe chose to use, he wrote his equation the exact same way, but he used the variable a, and oh, that was supposed to be an a, and he used the other variable of f. This works as well. My suggestion, I like this idea of A and F, just so that you remember the A sort of represents the almonds, the F represents the figs. You can write it as X and Y though. That's perfectly perfect. Some other friends wrote it like this. What do we think about when we write it like this? 75 is equal to 6x plus 9y. What do we think about if we were to write it this way, this second way here? Do we think that's correct? So give me a yes or a no. Do we think it's correct? Let me know in the chat directly, or direct it to everybody for me. What do we think? Do we think it's correct to say it in this order right here? Yes or no, guys? What do we think? Come on. Nice. Gabe and Ian say yes. And Gabe, do you want to unmute and let us know why you think yes, this is an appropriate way to write it?
It's just turning the equation around.
It's just turning the equation around, right? It's just changing the left and the right side. We're not changing the value of these, right? Each of these terms, we're keeping the same. So the terms are the same. This term is the same. The sign in between them is the same. And the 75 is on the opposite side of the equal sign. Remember, we can change the order of things. We just need to make sure that we keep the same signs and that the terms are still the same. Good. So now I want you to take a look at slide number 5 in your textbook. It's number 1 and 2. If she bought 2 pounds of almonds, how many pounds of figs would she buy? And if she bought 1 pound of figs, how many pounds of almonds would she buy? I want you to take 2 minutes right now to answer these questions using that equation that you just created. Let me know in the chat once you get your answers for them. So just give me like a 2 is equal to something. Nice job, Gabe. Thank you, Ian, for giving me that really specific and labeled answer there. Nice job. Wonderful. So I got answers from Gabe and Ian. Let's get some answers from some other friends. We have about 28 more working seconds. You guys are doing fantastic. Nice job, Max. Okay, so on this slide here, I asked you to insert a picture of your work. So that means if you did this on a piece of paper, like I sorted, I don't have my camera for some reason. I don't know why it's not letting me, but I did each of these out on a piece of paper. So I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to insert that picture in as my work. But before I do that, I can do that after this period or this afternoon. I want to insert a box here so that I can type in my actual answer that I got. So how many pounds of figs would I buy if I bought 2 pounds of almonds? Let's see what some friends are saying here. So I had Max give me my answer for number 1. Max, do you want to unmute and sort of tell me what you did to find that answer?
Find my answer. What I did is I took, since each pound of almond costs since each pound of almonds cost $6, I did 6 times 2, got 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I subtracted the total of 75 from 12, which left me with 63. And I divided 63 by 9.
Very good. So what he said was he said he multiplied the $6 per pound times the 2 pounds that we bought. So 12 is plus that 9F or 9, whatever variable you chose, is equal to that 75. Then from each side, he said, I have to subtract 12. Subtract 12. And I'm going to be left with 9F is equal to, 63. Then to isolate that F, we had to divide by 9. And when you divide by 9, you say F is equal to 7. Very good. Nice job, Max. Thank you for walking us through that. So F is equal to 9 pounds or LBS. Make sure you have your label on your answer there. When we look at the second one here, or number 2 in your textbook, number 3 on this slide here, let's see what people did to get those answers. Can I have Kyle? Do you want to? That's fine, Kyle. Kyle, do you want to walk us through what you did here? Unmute and let us know. Maybe Kyle? No? Okay, Peyton, can I have you unmute and can you tell us what you did for this one here?
I didn't get to that one yet. I did.
Okay, so let's look at the equation. So we have 6a plus 9f is equal to $75, right? So this time we're saying we're buying 1 pound of figs. So I'm going to plug 1 in where in this equation, Peyton? For which variable?
You plug it in where the F is.
Yes, you plug it in where the f is. So you're going to do 9 times 1. And then when you do 9 times 1, Peyton, what are you going to get? You're going to get 6a plus what?
Plus 9
Is
equal to 75.
fantastic. Then what's your next move going to be if I want to isolate the a by itself? What am I going to do to both sides? What do you think, Pate? Ian, help me out. What's my next move going to be here?
You would divide the 66 by 6.
Oh, but before we do that, we have to minus 9 from each side, right?
Yeah.
Nice. And then you would be left with 6a is equal to 66. Awesome job there, Ian. And then how do you get that a by itself?
You divide it by 6. Well, you
Very
divide the 6. Yeah.
Good. So you divide both sides by 6 and you get the number of almonds is equal to what?
11
11 what?
almonds. I mean,
11.
11 pounds of almonds.
11 pounds. Very good. LBS. Very good. Nice job, Ian. Fantastic job picking up right where Peyton left off. Peyton, that was fantastic. Awesome job, my friend. So proud of you. Awesome. Let's take a look at the next piece of this now. So if we're in our textbook and we are looking at this bulk snack idea, we're looking at slide number 6, number 4 in your textbook, okay? So it says, here is a graph that represents the quantities in this situation. We need to choose any point on the line, state its coordinates, and explain what it tells us. What it tells us. What does that point tell you? So so first off, I want you to give me a letter of a coordinate. So you could do like H, and then I want you to, in parentheses, write what that coordinate is. Right? So it'd be X comma Y. And then in here, I want you to tell me 2 things. The fact that it falls on the line, what does that tell me about that point? And then I want you to look at the labels here on your axes, and I want you to actually tell me in the context of the story, what does it mean? So you're going to take 3 minutes right now to look at these 2 pieces here. So you're finding one point that falls on the line, you're naming the point and the coordinates, then you're telling me the 2 things. What does the fact that it falls on the line tell me? And what does it tell me in the context of the story? Same thing for a point that doesn't fall on our line. You're naming it, coordinate. You're telling me 2 things. What the fact that it doesn't fall on the line is, and what the fact that, or what it means in the context of the story. Okay, you're taking 3 minutes right now, starting right now, to answer these 2 questions for me. Putting answers in the chat if you, once you start to get them. Oh. There we go. Awesome job, ladies and gentlemen. We're just under 2 minutes, about a minute and 45 more working seconds here. What are these points? What do they tell us? I would love for Junior, I'm going to call on you in another minute and a half, and I'm going to have you help me out with the first one here. So just get ready for that, okay? And Kyle, just an FYI, on those slides where you have to insert pictures of your work, you're going to need to take a picture of your textbook. So if you're working in your textbook, I need you to take a picture of your work and insert it there for yourself. Okay? Even if everything else is done in your book. Okay, let's start to get some. Actually, I'm not going to have you guys put answers in the chat. I'm going to call on specific people to help me out. Okay, we're taking another 10 seconds for ourselves, and then Junior's going to help me out with this first one. So be ready to unmute for yourself and help me out. Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to have Junior first. I'm going to have him just to start. Unmute and tell me a point that he chose that fell on the line and the coordinates of that point. Junior, what was one of your points that you chose?
2,7.
And what was the letter? What was the letter for that one?
A.
Oh, so it was A, and then in parentheses, you put 2, 7. X, Y over 2 up to 7. Awesome job, Junior. And then for the two things that it tells us, what was so looking at that first thing, the fact that it's on the line, what does that mean? Junior. What do we think, Junior? So when a point falls on a line, it means that it's a what? It's a
solution.
A solution, right? So it is a solution to the equation. And what does it mean in the context of the story, my friend? What do you think, Junior? What does it mean in the context of the story? When you buy what, you also buy what? What is it going to be, Junior? Okay. Oh, go ahead.
She bought 7 pounds of figs and 2 pounds of almonds.
Pounds of figs and 2 pounds of almonds. And what's that last piece? Is equal to 75. So she bought 7 pounds of figs and 2 pounds of almonds, and it what? And it cost a total of $75. You can't forget that last little bit there. Okay, so she bought 7 pounds of figs and 2 pounds of almonds, and together that cost a total of $75. Good. So now I'm going to have, let's see, Abby Wasta, do you mind unmuting and telling me a point that you chose that was not on the line, the name of it and the coordinate?
I chose point D, and it was 1, 1.
Okay. And what does that tell us first? The fact that it doesn't fall on the line.
That it's not a solution to the equation.
Good. It's not a solution to the equation. And then what does that tell us, like, in the context of the story?
It tells us that if she bought 1 pound of figs and 1 pound of almonds, it wouldn't equal 75.
Very good. If she bought 1 pound of, oh, I spelled pound wrong, sorry, of figs and 1 pound of almonds, it would not cost $75. Very good job there, Abby. That was fantastic. You could have also chosen point E, which is 0 or 14, 0. That means she bought 14 pounds of almonds and 0 pound of figs, and it would not cost me $75. Good. For the on the line one, you could have also chosen C and B, which respectively are 6.5, 4 and 11, 1. And those would both cost $75. Both of those are solutions, and they both cost $75. The points that fall on our lines, in general, points that fall on the lines are solutions to the equation. Points that do not fall on the lines are not solutions. If you're looking at it, there's a lot more points here that are not solutions than are solutions for this one, if we're looking just at this first quadrant here, okay? So let's take a look at this next slide here, where it says, this is sort of like an extra piece that isn't necessarily in your book. So let's take a look at this next piece here. What does the point 10, 3 mean in this situation? So in this situation, what does 10, 3 represent? And I want you to figure out, is it a possible combination of figs and almonds? Why or why not? And I want you to insert a picture of you solving it for the evidence there. So I want you to take 2 minutes right now to answer both of these questions. What does 10, 3 mean in this situation? And is it a possible combination of figs and almonds? If you finish early, I want you to take a look at slide number 8. Oh, it is in your textbook? What page is it on, Connor? Oh, never mind. Oh, no, it's not in your textbook. Sorry, I just said that. It wasn't in your textbook. Perfect. Thanks, Connor. Sorry, I got confused for a second. Okay, we're taking exactly 1 more minute to first, yes, you're going to do it on the slides. Yes. Thank you. We're going to decide, what does this point mean in the situation, in the context of the story, and is it a possible combination of figs and almonds? You're doing it on the slides because it's not in your textbook. Awesome. We're taking another 25 seconds for ourselves. I'm gonna see if I can have Elliot. I'm gonna have him unmute, and I'm gonna have him tell me, what does this point mean in the context of the story, and then I'm gonna have John unmute and tell me, is it a possible combination? So get ready, Elliot. Okay, wonderful. So Elliot, can I have you unmute, and can you tell me, what is this coordinate 10, 3 represent in this story? And if you need to go back to that graph here to help you, 10, 3, x, y, what does it represent in this story, Elliot? What do we think?
I don't think it represents a combination of figs and almonds. I'm not sure.
So let's work it out together. So it's 10, 3, and coordinates are in x, y. So that means the 10 is going to be on our x-axis. So we're buying 10 pounds of almonds and 3 pounds of what? What do you think, Elliot? If we say we're buying 10 pounds of almonds, because that's on our x-axis, what we're buying 3 pounds of what?
Figs.
Yes, nice job. So we're buying 10 pounds of almonds and 3 pounds of figs. Okay, that's awesome. That's exactly what I'm looking for there. And John, when I have this combination here, did we think that this one was a possible combination of figs and almonds? Elliot said he didn't think so, but what do you think, John? John, help me out, my friend. Is this a possible combination of almonds and figs? How about Connor? Connor, can I have you help me? Do you think this one is a possible combination of almonds and figs?
No, because if you look at the graph and you go to that point, it's not on the line.
Very good. If you go over to 10, up to 3, it's not on the line. Very good. Another way that you could have tested it is you could have plugged 10 and 3 into your equation and solved it. So if you decided to go by that, looking at the graph, you can tell me in here, 10, 3 does not fall on the line. If you plugged it into the equation and solved to see if one side was equal to the other, then you could insert a picture of your work there, okay? Wonderful. Last little bit here. We have 1 more minute of class. We're not going to actually do this one right here. We're not going to do the first one here, but I want you to think about this last one here. We're going to take 1 minute right now together to talk about this last one. Suppose we extended the 2 ends of the graph beyond the first quadrant. Would a point on those parts of the line, say -1, 9, be a solution to the equation right here? Why or why not? What do we think? In the chat, let me know. Do you think in the context of this story, -1, 9 would be a possible combination of almonds and... Nice job, Max. I want people in the chat. Tell me, what do you think? Is this a possible combination? Does this combination make sense? I'm going to give people another second to give me an answer. I got one from Connor, Abby, and Max. Let's see. Come on. What else? What do we think? Realistically, logically, is this a solution here? Nice job, Naseem. Nice job, Ian. Nice job, Peyton. Max, what do you think? Why do you think? Why did you say no for this one?
I said no for that question because you can't buy a negative amount of figs or almonds.
Very good. You can't buy a negative amount. Fantastic. That's exactly what I'm looking for there. Nice job there, Max, and everybody else that put it in the chat. And Gabe said the exact same thing as Max just said. That was so fantastic. Nice job, guys. So this question right here does not need to be answered. What you're doing this afternoon is you're clicking on cohort 1. That's going to take you to an Ed Puzzle video that's going to walk you through the second half of the activity for today. Okay, so I want you to take your time this afternoon going through the Ed Puzzle video. Most of the stops that I have you do, I actually put into the length of the video. So if I say work for 2 minutes, I actually put that 2 minutes into the video. So you don't need to be pausing as you're working this afternoon. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen just so that I can see everybody. Does anybody have any questions for what you need to complete this afternoon? You have no other homework other than the second activity here. This second activity would be best if you guys actually do it on the slides as opposed to in the book, because in the book it asks you to create graphs, but it doesn't give you graph paper. So every single person, when you're doing the activity this afternoon, I want you to do it on the slides because the book does not give you graph paper and you need to graph, okay? And everything is all linked into the slideshow for you to do. And the video talks you through how to create those graphs, okay? So if anybody doesn't have any questions for me, you can head out to science and email me this afternoon if you have any questions as you're working, okay? Have a great afternoon, guys. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, guys. How you doing, John?